Have you ever been walking down the street, hanging out with friends, and been bombarded by a cloud of smoke? This was most likely not from a fire, but from someone using a vape. I've not only done much research, but have suffered from a crippling nicotine addiction myself. I vaped for 1 year. I tried to stop many times. The one experience that opened my eyes was when my mother found out. She was truly disappointed in me, and from that moment I knew I had to make a change. Not only is it popular among adults, but has affected much of our younger generation. Truth Initiative tells us that youth vapors rose 1,800% from 2011 to 2019. Vaping takes control of our lives, and we have to end this addiction that's affected all ages. Today I will tell you the history of vaping, what it is, some of the negative effects on our body, the benefits from stopping, and some tips to help you stop. I'll begin by giving a brief background. Puffco tells us much of the history of vapes. In 1963, the first e-cigarette was created by Herbert A. Gilbert. However, his patent was rejected by cigarette manufacturers as their sales were so high with regular cigarettes. His idea was ignored for decades. Han Leek, an addict himself, had his father die from lung cancer. He did not want to experience the same fate of his father. One night, he fell asleep with his nicotine patch on. He had a dream where he was drowning at sea. The water turned to vapor, making him easily breathe. This inspired Han. He created the e-cigarette, which had no tar substances causing cancer like regular cigarettes. However, later we found out it did cause cancer. It also eliminated secondhand smoke. The e-cigarette and e-liquid a patent was passed in 2006 in the United States and Europe. Many people vape because they believe the myth that vaping is better than smoking. However, vaping is just as bad, if not worse, than smoking. The World Health Organization, in a single care article, tells us that in 2011 there were 7 million vape users. By 2018, that number had went up to 41 million. Imagine how much those numbers are going to increase in the next few years if we don't put a stop to this. I can now tell you what exactly vaping is. Vaping takes another form of smoking. Battery powers vapes, heat e-liquid or vape juice, converting it to an aerosol. Aerosol looks like a vapor, but contains nicotine, flavoring, and other chemicals. Nicotine is what gets you so addicted. The average vape contains as much nicotine as 20 cigarettes. Vapes have also been reported of exploding if they overheat. You may not realize all the negative effects of vaping at first. Some of the short-term effects are dry mouth, dizziness, shortness of breath, coughing, and dry skin. But the longer-term effects are what's so scary. Vape oils contain metals and harmful chemicals. Could you imagine inhaling metals into your lungs every day? Vape oils also consist of vitamin E acetate. Now, if you don't know, this vitamin is a honey-like additive into vapes. It sticks to the insides of your lungs, causing lung cancer. Synapses are connections of the brain cells. Nicotine affects how these synapses are formed. This leads to brains not being fully formed in adolescence. Dr. Bill Bush tells us that nicotine can reduce blood flow and nutrition to your gums, leading to mouth and gum disease. Nicotine raises the adrenaline and the blood pressure, leading to a higher heart rate, leading to heart attacks. Michael Lohr tells us that users are 56% more likely to a heart attack. I've stated the negative effects, however, here are some of the benefits. You will first experience withdrawals. These withdrawals can last days to weeks. Some of these are headaches, mood swings, irritability, anxiety, and trouble sleeping. Now, 72 hours, nic leaves your system completely. You will have blood circulation increasing, improved taste and smell, making your food taste better. You are less likely to a stroke. You have an increased lung capacity after the inflammation in your lungs decreases. In 1 to 9 months, you are better able to clear mucus from your lungs and fight off infections. The possibility of lung, mouth, and throat cancer decreases. In 15 to 20 years, you have the same health as a non-user. Now, the cost is another negative effect of smoking. The average cost is $50 to $75 a month for a user. This is given to us by the Tobacco Prevention and Cessation in the Single Care article. Could you imagine how much you'd spend in a year or two on smoking? Now, ending a habit is difficult, and these tips are here to help us, given to us by Crystal Raypool. You first need to identify reasons for quitting to keep you motivated along the way. You should also choose a time where you're not under a lot of stress, as most smokers smoke because of the stress they are under. You should also choose quitting cold turkey. In the Healthline article, a 2016 study looked at 697 smokers. Those who quit cold turkey were more likely abstinent in the 4-week period than those who quit gradually. The 6-month follow-up held true as well. You should also look at alternatives like gum, hard candies, and toothpicks, as they can keep you occupied. My biggest thing was a support system. You need to tell your friends and family what is going on so they can help you along the way and give you the motivation you need. You should also look at triggers like being around people who smoke or being under stress. The last thing is, if you choose to smoke again, just remember to get back onto your plan and remember the progress you've made. Bringing my speech to a close, we cannot let this control us any longer or continue into the next generation. It is time to make change, starting with ourselves, one person at a time. I've told you the history of vaping, what it is, the benefits of stopping, and some tips to help you along the way. I've warned you of the harmful effects that come from this. I encourage you to never begin vaping, or if you have, take into consideration the negative impact it has on your body and your life, and use the tips I provided to stop as soon as possible.